We're here today with Joan Chisholm, mother, wife, friend to many. And in celebration of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we were so pleased to be able to get this interview with Joan. And we just would love for you to, express to us in your purest form about what it is that you went through and encourage others and inspire others about your journey. So my first question to you is for you to go back to the first day that you heard those three words, you have cancer. What was that first emotion that you went through and that you felt?
When I first found out I had breast cancer was on October 4th, 2012. I received a phone call and I was at a store and she asked me if I was Joan Chisholm and I said yes. She says, "I'm sorry to tell you, but you have breast cancer." I was literally shocked. I knocked some stuff off the floor, off the counters, and I was so upset I couldn't catch my breath. The owners of the store helped me to the side room, and I'll never forget, this little old Chinese woman couldn't understand a word she was saying, but I knew she was praying for me. Mm-hmm. And the two daughters there, they were just very caring into knowing the news that I just received.
Oh, okay.
And it was I was devastated because I'm the type who goes to the doctor all the time, have mammograms, and this one particular mammogram, the doctor said, I need you to get this checked out a little bit further, and then more and more tests, and I was devastated.
Okay.
Devastated.
So that brings us to the next question. What was the hardest part about those first few days after that? Like, knowing that now I have cancer.
For me, the most hardest was telling my four daughters. Mm-hmm. Because as young women and a 13-year-old, I want them to know that everything is going to be all right because of my faith in God. And He doesn't give us too much more than we can handle. And on this journey, by being a breast cancer survivor.
Right. Okay. Because you are a survivor, so
it's just allows me to know how strong I am because I am a survivor. Right. I didn't let it take over me. Okay. I still have a lot of it gets hard sometimes. Mm-hmm. Especially when I don't feel well. Mm-hmm. I'm finished with chemo and radiation, but I'm having so many other side effects. Mm-hmm. And that is what allows me to know that this will always be with me, but I'm a survivor.
You are. And you know what, I know for a fact that people that have never had cancer or have never had a family member with cancer really don't know all those finite details about what one goes through. What would you say was the biggest hurdle? If you could just name one, because I know that there were several, but if you could just name one, what was that biggest hurdle that you underwent that was the biggest life change for you?
I would say losing my hair. I lost my hair my second week after my first chemo. Okay. And I knew I was going to lose it. My oncologist told me I was going to lose it. I read up, but losing my hair, because that made it real. Mm. That made it real. And, there's always a saying, I'm not my hair.
Right. India,
but it made it more real to me. Every time I look in the mirror and I see my head was bald. as time went on, it allowed me to know that it's not about my hair. It's about how I feel about myself. And knowing that there are times when I'll feel sick, you know, or feeling very weak, not being able to eat anything, or drained after going through radiation. There are times when I just don't feel I can go on. And then I just ask God to get me through that next minute. And then it's that next hour, that next day.
The small steps.
And it's like it did get better. You know, there were times when I couldn't eat anything. Or when I did, I would just get so sick. And, you know, friends and family told me just try a little of this or try a little of that. And it worked. I just had to take smaller sips and drink lots of water. And it did help. You know, it did help me get through that next step.
And I think that's important. That is so important, like you talk about the small steps. You know, I think when we think of things, we think of it on such a big scale, it seems impossible. When you just think about just the next step, I think it's a lot easier. I think Martin Luther King had that saying, I don't need to see the whole staircase, I just need to see the next step. So I love that. And you know, we're going to bring it to a positive light. Although cancer and having any sickness is a bad experience, it's a horrible experience. You just talked about being sick and being drained. What was the highlight that came out of the experience? Because I know that God had to provide you with a highlight out of going through that.
One of the highlights is there is a common bond with other breast cancer survivors, or anyone with cancer in general. We know how they feel when they have to have surgery, where they have to have partial mastectomy or a full mastectomy. We know, because that's what makes us a woman. Or also how someone might look at us because we're bald-headed, or how we feel about ourselves. And when someone has gone through these stages of cancer, whether it's stage 1 through stage 5, it allows us that we are strong and we can get through it. It may be very small, but we can get through it. And having a support system, you know, friends and family. You know, when I was sick, I would have people who would bring me tea and soothing candles, soup, came and cooked dinner for me. My husband has been him and my daughters and my sister and my mom, they have told me it'll be all right. And there were times when I didn't feel that myself, but they said, oh, you could get through this, you could get through this. But there were times when I felt that I couldn't. But by their encouragement, it's like, okay, I can get through this. And I did a little bit at each time. The American Cancer Society, the support groups that I attend, they all were just giving me that little push and helping me, calling them, crying over the phone, my prayer groups. You know, there were times when I couldn't even talk, or I was so weak I didn't want to talk because I felt that my voice was too quivery. But knowing that there is someone there who's been through it, took me by the hand and helped me go to the next step. And then seeing so many other people, they says, well, I've been through that, you'll be fine, you'll be fine. And there were times when I really didn't feel it myself, but they said, oh, you'll be fine. But I know God was with me. There were so many times when I would just cry and pray, and he doesn't give us more than we can handle.
Okay. So now I'm going to ask you, how are you going to affect the world now? You've been through this. This has become a part of your journey and a part of your life and a part of your family's life. How are you, Joan, going to affect the world with this now?
By doing something like this, by letting people know how me am able to carry on. There are times when there's good days and there's bad days. But letting someone else know that it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right, and just to have the faith in God and read as much as you can about your particular cancer. Learn as much as you can of support groups, being involved, being around with other women who have gone through cancer or still fighting the fight with cancer. And to remember those that did not survive this, always keeping them knowing that they couldn't get through this, knowing that God can get us through anything. It's a matter of showing how we can continue and strive for better.
Good afternoon. My name is Frampton Chisholm, and I'm sitting next to my sweetheart, Joan Chisholm, who's a breast cancer survivor. And I just wanted to say that it's not an easy job being a primary caretaker. I don't allow her to do anything. I do as much work every day, 8 hours a day. Come home, I have to cook, I have to wash, I have to take care of everything. It's not easy. But she's in recovery now, and I'm proud of her. Love her. And for all the primary caretakers out there, stay strong, and things will work out for you.